Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it.
Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls
Guys,
go.
first story up, we have prayers up for Buffalo Bills safety player DamarHamlin. He was the football player who collapsed in the game. What night was that? Was that Tuesday night? I believe it was Tuesday. No, it was Monday Night Football. But you guys know how much I know about football. But yeah, Monday Night Football, the game between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, I believe. Right after a routine play of him tackling someone, right after he tackled the person, he stood up and then he collapsed. And immediately everybody knew that this was something serious. It wasn't a torn ACL. It wasn't a busted knee. It wasn't a concussion. It seems like the way that he just collapsed back, it felt like the team doctors already knew that this was probably something more. Not that any of those other ailments aren't serious, but this was like probably his heart. From the way they rushed out there, they had the paddles. His heart had stopped. Come to find out, his heart had stopped, so they had to resuscitate, get his heart back beating right there in the field. The doctors all worked on him for 10 minutes. The players were all traumatized. When you saw them on the field, they were crying. They could not believe that this had happened. It was just a really traumatic and tragic scene. I'm sure, especially for his family that was actually there at the game. His mom was there at the game. And, you know, when you see your child, 24 years old, you guys, just collapse like that, you know it's something serious. So like I said, they did get his heart back beating again, enough to get him on the ambulance and rush him to, you know, him and his mom to the hospital where he has been ever since. They say that he is in critical condition. And that they have sedated him so that he can, you know, so that his body can heal more peacefully. You know, if he's awake and possibly feeling pain or whatever could be happening, it's better if they just put him like to sleep, basically, so that they can just kind of sleep through and their body can repair itself. But they're saying that he's 24 years old, he's young. And otherwise, other than this heart, you know, the severe like arrhythmia, other than that stopping, he's in good health. So the prognosis for him has been good, but still, you know, when you just don't know how these things can go, I'm sure that it is terrifying, especially again for his family. They caught his uncle that was coming out of the hospital the other day, and he said that, you know, they are all praying that he comes through this. You know, they feel good that he is going to come through. Apparently the doctors have him laying on his stomach because there was blood apparently on his lungs. There was like fluid on his lungs. So I guess the way that they have him positioned is to help alleviate that, relieve, you know, the blood, the fluids or whatever it is that's on his lungs, and just trying to I'm sure there's a medical reason why they have him that way. But yeah, the uncle said that the family was just torn apart when they saw what happened. And once they realized that apparently he also had another heart attack at the hospital, and they were able to resuscitate him again. So this is 2 times that he basically died. And, you know, if it wasn't for the professionalism of the doctors, the team doctors, which they say like the team doctors now are just so up on it. They said that, you know, even maybe 15 years ago, the doctors were not as knowledgeable as they are now, I guess, with everything that goes on with these concussions and, you know, other things that happen on the field. You know, they've made sure that they get the doctors out there that can definitely help. And this was a situation where, even though it's never happened like this before, thank God that they did have those people there, you know, to get his heart started again and get him off of the field. So yeah, our prayers go up for him, especially the family. You know, Joe's gonna be 24. I always think about my kids when stuff like this happens, because as a mother, I just can't even imagine just how terrifying that whole thing must be. So yeah, prayers up for him and his family and his teammates, and all. So apparently, because this has happened, they had postponed the game when it originally happened, and now they have said that they will not play that game again. I don't know what that means in the grand scheme of things. When it comes to the lineup of the games, I know that we're getting close to playoff time and Super Bowl time, so you know, I don't know what that means for the team or anything, but nobody really seems to care at this point, because the most important is making sure that, you know, the young man pulls through and is okay. Now, there's been a lot of other stuff that has happened, because, you know, since this has happened, everybody is upset with Skip. What's his last name? Is it Bayless? I think that's his last name. He is the commentator that is on the show Undisputed. I believe he's on there with Shannon Sharpe. And apparently Skip has upset a lot of people over the years and said a lot of asinine things. And so this time he has found himself in hot water again, because people are upset with what he tweeted right after this happened. I'm going to read the full, there was more than just the one tweet. The one tweet that he posted is the one that's all over the blogs, but there are 3 actual tweets that he said. I'm going to read them to you, and you guys, so that you guys can kind of know exactly what was what here. Okay, you guys, so he says, I've seen so many horrific injuries suffered on football fields, yet never have I seen a reaction like this. In every other situation I witnessed or covered, the game always went on fairly quickly. The attitude was, hey, that's football. For these players, this was different. Not exactly sure what happened to DamarHamlin. Players on both teams are shaken. Ambulance out on the field. CPR administered. Can't remember play being stopped for this length of time. Just said a prayer for him and his family. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. So it seems like Skip Bayless was probably trying to say something different and worded it strangely. That last tweet that I read, where he says, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how this late in the season? When he said that part, that's the part that actually sounds very callous. It's just sort of like nobody's thinking about what happens with the season and all of that when this boy is laid out on the field and fighting for his life. So of course everybody was upset with Skip for saying that, including his showmate Shannon Sharpe, who he got into it with afterwards. I just feel like maybe he shouldn't have said anything, you know. It's hard though, because he is a sports commentator. He has a show, so of course he's going to have an opinion about this. But it was definitely callous, that third tweet that he put out. And even though at the end he says it seems irrelevant, you know, it still was just sort of like, well, Skip, you probably shouldn't. You know, not probably. You shouldn't have said that part in the first place. That may have even been something that you could have discussed later, afterwards, some days that, you know, once we knew exactly where he was in his fight, you know, maybe then that could have been a conversation that was had. But for him to post that, right as it was happening, yeah, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say. A lot of football players. I even saw they were interviewing Bob Costas, and he said that, you know, definitely the NFL made a great call in postponing or canceling the game, because if they would have gone on to play and, you know, the young man had passed, then it would have been horrible. It would have been a bad look for the NFL. And the NFL already has enough bad looks, when we dealing with these concussions and the way that the players have been treated in the past, kind of like just a shut up and play, sort of situation. We've seen people get hurt plenty of times in football games, and we've seen them bring the ambulance out or bring the stretcher and, carry them off, and then the game continue on. But in this case, that it was so much more serious. I mean, it seemed like he could have been dead down there. I mean, he was technically not alive any longer. And so I think that it was a great call that the NFL did that. I think that would have been really horrible press for them, like Bob Costas said. And Skip Bayless, he should not have said anything that way. Now, he had to have known, I saw that his interview, not his interview, but once he was on the show, and how he kind of apologized and said that he hasn't gotten any sleep and he's been worried about the young man and all that. But all of that kind of falls flat when, everybody is remembering what you said in your tweet. So, but I think that's Skip Bayless apparently is from the old school, where it was a just shut up and play. It was just a, nothing comes before the lineup of the games and, the game itself, let's play ball, and he's not from this new way of thinking that the NFL is trying to bring, like trying to not look so much like they don't give a fuck about them players. I mean, even if they really don't, they know that it don't look good anyway, so yeah. But apparently Skip Bayless, from what I understand, says a lot of stupid things. So, par for the course. But anyway, getting back to the subject, I just really hope that this young man makes it through. When I saw him pass out, my heart, I felt so sorry. Like, I just was like, oh my God, because immediately everybody was upset. So like, you knew that this, those guys was like telling them like, hurry up, come on, hurry, hurry, hurry. Like, and he obviously was out and wasn't moving or anything. So it was just really, even for somebody that doesn't watch football, it was very sad, very hard to watch. And, you knew that it was serious. So I'm just praying that the young man makes it through. And I'm praying for his family and his many, many fans everywhere. But they seem to believe that he will. Okay, so hopefully next week when I do my next Top of the Blogs, I'll have an update for you guys that he is, back. They have brought him back conscious and that, he's on the mend. That's it, you guys. Get better soon. DamarHamlin.
All the fake friends gon' pile up. I need peace to borrow. Get that shit right back tomorrow. Somehow all
right,
the
guys, next story. Politics. So you guys know that Nancy Pelosi did resign, or did retire, I should say, from being the Speaker of the House. Okay. The shit that's been going on. You guys know that I thought that the years just go by so fast. Now that I'm home, like working from home, like I felt like January 6th happened in 2022, but it happened in 2021. But we still feeling the ramifications of everything from January 6th, 2021, even to this day. So after her husband was attacked by one of the extreme right, crazy folks, she decided to go on and retire. So now you guys know that Kevin McCarthy has been wanting to get into that house. He wanted to be the House Speaker for probably as long as he's been in office. Okay. So this time he's put his name in because he felt like this was the moment that he could actually become the Speaker of the House. Now, as I was writing out my notes, they had 6 votes yesterday, you guys. 6 votes. And on every single damn vote that they had done, they would not confirm, he didn't have the majority of the people wanting him as the House Speaker. The Congress had a collective nigga please. It will not be happening today. Basically, he is wasting everybody's time. Like, nobody is changing their minds. They keep continuing to have breaks, and, I'm assuming during those breaks, they're making their calls, and, his team is probably trying to see how he can get the Republicans to sway over to his side, so that they can get these votes and, he can be the one. But it hasn't been working. Okay, pretty much all of the votes that they've had, nobody has changed their mind, and basically we just going back to the drawing board just to get the same results. So like I said, he's wasting everybody's fucking time, and the Republicans, now that they realize that it ain't really gonna happen for him, they are starting to talk to somebody else, Steve Scalise. I guess Scalise is the senator from Louisiana. Okay. They feel like he has a better chance of doing it, but I guess Kevin McCarthy needs to withdraw his name. All right. And he has already vowed that he will not withdraw his name. And he even said that he has the support of WISAP, who is, I'm sure, pressuring him not to pull out. But eventually, after we gonna keep on doing these votes over and over and over, you just really start to get on motherfuckers' nerves, okay? So it gets to a point where now I'm really not voting for you, because why the hell we got to be here all day and all night doing these damn votes with the exact same count as the first one? We on damn 6 and we still no, so WISAP has been making his calls and his team has been making their calls to the people, and they basically been like, fuck y'all. We ain't doing it. We don't care. We do not want him as the Speaker of the House. And so we'll see where it goes. In order to secure the speakership, it requires a majority of lawmakers voting 218 of the current 434 members, if they all cast votes for him. He ain't got it, and nobody seems to feel like they're going to change their mind. So yeah, Kevin McCarthy needs to go sit down some damn where. But shit got real dicey up in there. They said old girl from Florida, Kamek, is that her name? She accused the Democrats of drinking, okay, and said that they was like all drunk over there, and that's why they all got all upset and was yelling at her and screaming and saying that she needed to apologize. And we don't have a Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House is normally the person that keeps everybody in line, hits the gavel, calms everybody down, records it in the books and shit. But now we ain't got no damn Speaker of the House. So everybody over there just like some badass kids with no babysitter in place. And they out there just saying and doing whatever. In the meantime, we still don't have a vote in for old boy. It's not going to happen. So we'll see if the votes sway over to Scalise. I don't know how it works. Is Scalise able to put his name in? If McCarthy is still in, I'm not really sure how that goes. But they're saying that he needs to withdraw. And either there's going to be pressure for him to withdraw or pressure for them to go on and vote him in. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what's happening in politics. It's actually kind of funny because, honey, Kevin McCarthy, we just don't see it for you, baby. They don't see it for you. The Democrats and the Republicans alike.
So bravo, smile so much to hide my sorrow. Faith is shaky in vibrato.
All right, you guys, next story up. So this story actually happened yesterday evening when I was watching the news. I saw that there was a father, actually a husband, actually a doctor out there in the San Mateo area, which is sort of like Northern California area, Mission Hills area, who was in the car with his family, his wife, and his 7-year-old daughter and his 4-year-old son in a Tesla. They were parked near the cliff of, they call it, what do they call it? Devil's Slide. And it's called that because many accidents have happened right at this cliff area. They say that like 95% of the people that have driven off of that cliff, or maybe even higher, do not survive the fall. When you see it, it's a 200, 300 feet drop. There are sharp, jagged rocks there. And then, of course, it's the coast. It's on the coast. So it is the shore, the water right up against those rocks. And like I said, people that have driven off of there do not survive. But God, you guys, who gently cradled that Tesla as it fell down all of those feet to crash. Well, actually, it ended up crashing and lodging in some rocks. And because it was low tide, the water was back some. So those things that have happened made it possible that everybody that was in the car survived. Okay, the doctor, the father, the husband, he survived. his wife survived and his 2 children survived. Not only did they survive, but they didn't even really have any injuries. Okay. And so after this very dramatic rescue where they had to pull out the helicopters and, they had to have all of the rescue people come with the ropes and the gurneys and all of that, trying to make sure that they got everybody safely to the hospital. They rushed them to the hospital. That actually, this doctor in particular, his name is Damish. Hold on one second. I wrote his name down. Child, what is his name? I wrote it down. I typed it down. Why I can't find it? Oh, I'll put it on the screen. I thought I put it on here, but I guess I didn't put it on here. But anyway, they took him and the family to the hospital where he worked, which was Holy Cross, Providence Holy Cross. I'm sure everybody thought that they was just going to be recovering there at the hospital, but then shortly after he was admitted, then they ended up arresting him for attempted murder. Okay. I know he probably, once they hit that damn ground and everybody was, still, a little shaken up, but still alive. I know that doctor was like, fuck. Okay. Because unless you're about to kill them all in this car, which you definitely can't do, because now you alive, and are you going to kill yourself? Like, the whole thing is just cowardice, okay? But you trying to kill yourself and your family, everybody survives. When you see that cliff, you guys, it is amazing. It can't be nothing but God that kept them from dying in that crash, okay? But it looks like the car, when it landed, it looks like it wasn't all sideways or nothing. It was pretty much this way, And yeah, like I said, I know that doctor probably was just like, I must have the worst luck. If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all, because yeah, now you're going to jail and you're going to have attempted murder charges on all 3 of those people that, you put in danger like that. The news people were going around and talking to the people in his neighborhood, and they were all shocked. They were like, he was such a good neighbor, and they looked like the ideal family, and they had a good holiday, and they were so shocked that it happened. That's why you don't never know what goes on in people's households. Everybody be talking about couple goals and, thinking about just the shit that we see. But you don't never know what's going on behind those 4 doors. And then you got this man who wanted to kill not only just him, but his wife and his kids, little kids. You guys, 7 and 4 years old. So obviously something is really wrong with him. And it's going to continue to be wrong because, like I said, he is going to be in jail and he is facing attempted murder charges. So... But honey, God was like, not today. Not today. I ain't letting nobody die. All right. And not only that, but they going to live to tell the story that you the one that tried to kill them. So, yeah, it was just, when I was watching it, I was like, well, you talk about immediate karma. Child, God was like, we ain't even going to have to loop the block on this one. We going to do this right now. I smiled to myself when I said, because I was just like, this is immediate justice. And that's what's happening there. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about this story, the reasons why he may have decided that he wanted to, do a murder-suicide type of thing. But for now, we don't know. All we know is that everybody survived. Very minimal injuries. The hospital is not speaking on anything because there is an investigation in place. And Dr. Dang, I'm mad. I know I have it in here. I must have wrote it somewhere else. But the doctor going to jail for a long time.
Brown too long. I can't stay down too long.
All right, you guys, next story. So this is an update on, the TJ Holmes and Amy Robach debacle. Okay, mama named him Lutelius Holmes Jr. Junior means that there's another Lutelius out there. Child. Now listen, Lutelius and Amy, they've been still living their life, okay? Like we said, he had broken up from his wife in August of last year, and so did Amy. Amy broke up from her husband, and those two have been maintaining this relationship. I guess they thought that they was doing it pretty undercover and under wraps, but once they were discovered, yes, we found out not only was he in the relationship with Amy, but he had had a past affair with somebody else that worked there at Good Morning America, and that, you know, the whole Good Morning America team had been gossiping, and so much so that Robin Roberts was pissed at them and saying that, you know, you guys need to stop it because everybody is talking about it. You're going to lose your fucking jobs. And it looked like they were going to be okay when we found out that it was just him and Amy, you know, that they both were separated from their spouses and that they had a relationship and that they were grown and everything. But then once all of the other optics started to come out about Lutelius and all of his proclivities to be fucking on all the people at the Good Morning America, you know, the producers and all of that, then ABC changed their mind. So they were the co-host on Good Morning America 3, GMA 3, that comes on, well, out here in Atlanta, it comes on at 1 o'clock. But since all this happened, they have removed them. They have some substitute people in there that's working in their place. And now we find out that apparently ABC is trying to find like permanent people to put in there. And I guess that Lutelius and Amy have lost their jobs. How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys think that that is, that they should be losing their job over this, considering that they weren't married to each other anymore? Like I said, it does look bad for the company as a whole to know that, you know, he's had other relationships with women while he was married. So I think it's a more of a PR issue. But I'm wondering, like, I'm just wondering if they're able to, well, I mean, obviously they're able to do it because they're doing it now. They're looking for somebody. But how do you guys feel? Do you think that that's cool, that that's what's happening to old Lutelius and Amy? I mean, should Amy at least keep her job? Because Amy ain't had no affair that we know. We can't prove that she had an affair. We can only say that she's been with this guy and he's got all of this other shit that's going on. So is Amy in the clear, or do you guys think that Amy and Lutelius both, you know, need to be in trouble over this? Y'all let me know what you think about that. But anyway, now the wife of Lutelius, what's her name? Marilee, she's an attorney. She has spoken out and said that, you know, she wishes that he would have, you know, just been a little bit more discreet while he out here busting it wide open with Amy. Okay, because they have a 9-year-old daughter that's affected. And, yeah, I mean, yes, I do understand how the wife would feel, but I don't know. You know, in a perfect world that, you know, people would think about their children and all, but, you know, maybe he thought that he was moving on. Him and his wife had broken up and they weren't together any longer. You know, people will say, well, he wrote all of these letters and he said all of these things and all of that, but the bottom line is they weren't back together. Yeah, when people get divorces, there is a time where they're trying to figure out if this is really what they want to do sometimes, and they go back and forth with each other. But it seems like he didn't file for divorce now. He didn't put the papers in, so he means it. He's not getting back together with the wife. And you know, even if you have a child together, I mean, you move on with your life and that's it. So I don't know if I feel like he is trying to rub it all in her face. I think he seems to just be living his life. And of course, because the paparazzi and stuff are following him around, and that's why we are seeing it on social media and all of that. But, you know, I don't know if I feel like he's doing anything different than anybody else that would be dating somebody, you know? So, I mean, yes, it's unfortunate. And yes, it is sad that, you know, the children are the ones who get affected. Hopefully Lutelius will keep his relationship with his daughter. I mean, I'm assuming that he will. You know, once we get through this little strange, little dicey area, you know, they can continue on co-parenting and everything. But yeah, you guys, TJ and Amy, they out of a job. Lutelius. What y'all think about all of that, though? Do you guys think that Lutelius is getting a bad rap here, or do you think that's what the nigga get for fooling around on his wife? But was he fooling around? They were separated, you guys. Y'all let me know what you think.
From pain, running from strain, running from things, running from schemes.
All right, you guys, next story is also kind of a follow-up on this YSL case. So they're in the middle of jury selection right now. And the case is supposed to be starting, like, I believe on Monday. And if you guys don't know YSL, that is the Young Slime Life, the case where the DA out here in Atlanta says that Young Thug was like one of the higher ups, if not the actual shot caller for Young Slime Life, a blood gang operation. Young Thug and the other 28 people that they swept up and arrested on RICO charges, they are all saying that they all were saying that this was actually a record label, not a gang. And that is the reason why they were affiliated with YSL, that they were not a part of any criminal activity or any criminal behaviors. That is the defense that Young Thug has, with his lawyers. But it's clear that they really want to nail Young Thug. Okay, mama named him Jeffrey Wright in this case. So there were RICO charges. Those are federal charges, very serious charges. Usually the government, when they bring forth like federal charges, RICO charges like that, is because they have been following you for many years and they have been building this case and allowing you as much rope as you need to hang yourself. So they had been watching them since 2015 or so. Okay. And in this time, they said that gang had been robbing people, and there were some murders or attempted murders and a lot of other illegalities that were going on. So now the case is about to happen. They're saying something like there's a possibility of 300 witnesses. Now, you guys have to remember there were 28 people that were arrested. They have let 7 go on plea deals. Okay. Basically, they all have pled guilty to the one RICO charge. And, there are some of them that had some other things that they also had to plead guilty to. But for the most part, that one RICO charge, as long as they said that they did belong to YSL, which is considered a street gang, that was the only bad thing, or the only thing that they did, and other than that, that's why I feel like they offered plea deals to the people that they maybe feel like weren't really involved in criminal activity. Like I said last week, just somebody that was a part of it, but didn't get into that other part. Okay. The criminal part. So Gunna and Young Thug's brother and a whole bunch of other people have gotten out, but no deals given to Young Thug. Actually, Young Thug's father was caught on the news the other day, and his father was just like, well, I'm just his father and I can't tell him what to do. He's a grown-ass man, but I wouldn't take a plea deal even if they offered it to me, because the father is like, he is innocent and he shouldn't be taking plea deals because he hasn't done anything wrong. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. But 300 witnesses, that's a whole bunch of fucking people. I was like, they need 300 people to confirm, to validate their prosecution case against him. Like, that is a lot of people, and that will take a lot of time to try to get all of those people's testimonies up there and all that. So yeah, this case looks like it's going to be a long ass case. And I know them jurors that's going to be working that case is probably like, I cannot be off of work for no 5-6 months fucking around with this. Okay. So, but that's where they are. It's a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of money, because you guys know this is state taxes that pay these kind of cases and the prosecutors and all of that. So, yeah, that's where they are. But, finally we get to the case, because I felt like the DA had arrested all those people to kind of scare them. Like, they didn't know exactly what was happening, when they was going to get out, or anything. So it was just sort of like, let's arrest them all, let's sit them in jail, and let's let them twiddle their thumbs to the point where they get so frustrated or nervous or whatever that they start talking. Okay. And so I think that that's what they did, and we'll see in the case as it comes next week if that was part of their strategy. Okay. 20 people still left, but somebody might say something. Okay. And so we won't know anything until the case actually gets here, you guys. But yeah, jury selection is going. And we'll finally get down to the bottom of shit in court next week.
Can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down too long. Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running from skin.